In this video, we'll be looking at these Android streaming boxes from SuperBox. They did send both of these samples over for review, but as always, has not affected your opinion in any way. So on the left here, we have the DingBox D2, and on the right, we have the SuperBox S7 Pro. I'm going to be focusing mostly on the DingBox D2 because it's essentially just a better version of the SuperBox. I'll talk over some of the small differences, but I'll mostly be focusing on the features of the DingBox D2, just to avoid repeating myself. Specs-wise, both boxes will be nearly identical. They're both running Android 12. They both support gig internet, Wi-Fi 6. Both have 4 gigs of RAM, but the DingBox D2 has 64 gigs of storage versus 32 gigs on the S7 Pro. They both support 6K, over-the-air updates, and H.265. The accessories in the box will be pretty similar as well, other than the boxes themselves. We have a remote, HDMI cable, USB-C power brick. This one is connected on the S7 Pro versus detached on the DingBox D2, and then user manuals. And other than the S7 Pro having a bit less storage, one of the key differences is going to be the materials they're made out of. The DingBox D2 is fully made of aluminum, so you can kind of see the difference here in the build quality and kind of look and feel of it overall, whereas the 7 Pro is made fully out of plastic. The actual ports and everything will be exactly the same, but the biggest physical difference will be the materials they're made out of. So the DingBox D2 has more storage and is made out of metal instead of plastic, but other than that, these boxes are going to be basically identical. So looking closer at the box itself, it definitely feels very premium, especially this D2 being made out of aluminum. On the front here, we do have a display and then an IR receiver. On the right side, we have a USB port, a USB 1 port, a TF card slot, and then a restore button. That's going to be essentially your reset button in case something goes wrong. Well, these ports will be for connecting external storage, accessories, and that sort of thing. On the left side, we have some nice ventilation to help with temperature control. Same thing on the bottom, as well as some rubber feet to keep it elevated off the ground a bit. Looking at the back of the box is where most of our ports live. We do have two pretty good sized antennas here. It's going to be the DC-in USB-C power port, an IR port in case you want to connect an external IR receiver, an AV out port, HDMI port, gigabit Ethernet port, and then an optical audio port as well. So connectivity wise, it's definitely pretty robust for being able to connect external storage and accessories and all that, to having multiple different audio out options. They should integrate pretty easily into your existing home theater setup. Alright, so what the D2 looks like once it is all set up. The setup was pretty simple. You just connect the USB-C power cord, connect the HDMI, enter your Wi-Fi information, and then from there you're pretty much good to go. You also need to put two AAA batteries into the remote here. And the other thing is that when you actually first connect the remote, it's only connected via IR, so it's going to be really unsensitive. You're going to have to point it directly at the box to be able to actually do anything. But you can go into the box's settings and connect it via Bluetooth, and then it will work just as it should. So now even if I'm pointing it away from the box, it will still work just fine. Even if it's under a blanket, that sort of thing, it will work as it should. So definitely be sure to connect it via Bluetooth because it's pretty unusable via IR. And speaking of the remote, it's a pretty solid remote overall. Again, it works really well via Bluetooth, so you don't have to actually have it aimed at anything specific. And it actually has a lot of controls over the actual box itself. So it does have a voice mode if you want to launch a specific app or find a channel or something. You can do all that using your voice. It has the normal number pads and controls and all that, but it also has a cursor mode. So if you want to enable this, it actually brings up a mouse here, which is of course especially helpful for the web browser, but overall it just gives you a different way to interact with the box, which is pretty cool. So all that aside, once you have everything connected, this is going to be the main interface that you're interacting with. This is going to be identical on the S7 Pro. We have our live TV tile, VOD tile, playback, browser, app store, apps, and then some other kind of quick toggles down here. There's settings, you can actually delete apps really easily on here, activate the voice mode, customer support, all that. It's definitely a very functional home screen in my opinion, and it is pretty snappy. It's pretty easy to go in and out of apps and kind of switch between everything and all that, which is great. One thing to note is that it will not come with much pre-installed. You will have to kind of go into the app store and then manually add things. You can either add things via Play Store or their own app store here. So if I go into this app store here like this, you can kind of get an idea of the apps we have available. I've gone ahead and installed some of them here, as you can see. But these blue apps here are kind of the main reason you get a SuperBox. It's going to give you access to live TV, tons of different channels, video on demand, and all that. Of course, these specific apps operate in a bit of a gray area, so you are using them at your own risk, and at the risk that they'll be taken down or just stop working or that sort of thing. The nice part of this box is that it does not require any sort of subscription, so you'll be able to use all these apps without any monthly fees or subscriptions or commitments or any of that, but it's just going to be kind of for the life of the app. And due to the nature of these apps, the chance they get taken down or that sort of thing, they've been fine for a few years now, but again, it's just something to keep in mind. You're most likely paying extra for this box to be able to use these apps, and there is always going to be that chance that they get taken down or stop working. It's already happened to a few different apps on here. There was supposed to be some other apps that you have access to, but they're not appearing on this store. I'm assuming because they were taken down, but that's definitely just something to keep in mind. It is very nice to not have any sort of subscription, but it does come with some risks. And on top of these apps, we of course have our more legitimate apps. There's Netflix, YouTube, Disney+, that sort of thing. Those will require you to log in, but then down here we have some other apps as well that are just going to be pretty unique to these sort of boxes. And in addition to these apps you can very easily download here, you can of course sideload apps as well. It is just kind of a normal Android box, so you can use this APK installer, for example, install apps directly off a flash drive, for example, and get access to even more things. That's kind of the overall theme of this box, is you're really free to kind of consume the content you want, install what you want, without having to worry about too many restrictions. The other nice thing is that since it does have a built-in web browser, you can actually install apps directly from here. here. If you want to just go to a specific website, download an app or file, that sort of thing, you can install it directly from the internet. So just to look briefly at some of the apps here, we do have the live TV option. We'll go ahead and open this up here. There's Sun TV and Blue TV. Of course, you can add a bunch more, but these are kind of the ones that you're potentially buying this box for. So if we open up Sun TV, for example, you can kind of get an idea of how it works. So we can just access a bunch of different channels here, click on them, watch them, and all that. Pretty similar story for the Blue TV app here. It's going to give you access to just kind of a bunch of live TV channels, not only in your area, but all over the country and the world. So I won't show too much here, but this kind of gives you an idea of the app and the interface. Definitely works very well, and I can say the quality is excellent. Like, it's a lot better than most TVs I've seen, so I'm definitely very impressed with the quality. Again, no saying how long this app is going to last, but for now it works really, really well and does exactly what it's supposed to in a really good quality. The other really awesome feature is that for each of these channels that have that little play icon here, you can actually go ahead and go into them, and then time shift is what it's called. You can go back up to a week. So if you wanted to play what was playing 5 days ago at 2 p.m., for example, you're able to do that. That's really cool. That's by far the most unique feature in my opinion. And you can do a pretty similar thing on this Playback app here. So there's a dedicated app to it. Go ahead and open this Playback app. And this will allow you to check a bunch of different sports and different other channels. And again, kind of watch games and things like that that occurred within the last 7 days. Personally, that's my favorite feature. It's one thing to be able to access live TV, but in case you missed something and you want to go back, even if it was a week ago, you're able to do that. It's not the same as a DVR where you need to go in and record it and then rewind it and all that. It actually just kind of does it for you, giving you access to almost anything that happened on TV within the past week. I'll go ahead and quickly show one of the other apps here for the video on demand. We can add Blue VOD for this one. This will be similar to the live TV app, except it's going to be just for specifically for movies and all that. So you can check recommended, newest. They have movies, TV shows, all that. So you're able to just click on one, start watching it. Very simple to use, but again, you can see this lives in a gray area. So my overall takeaway is that the box works really well, but it comes with a bit of risk. This is essentially just a standard Android streaming box that can be found for much cheaper, but the reason you're paying the premium for the SuperBox or DingBox is going to be for that custom UI and for access to those Blue TV apps. You still have the advantage of being able to sideload apps and customize things and all that you would expect to find with your normal Android box, but the main selling point is going to be with those Blue TV apps. And at the moment, they do work incredibly well. While I think there's also some risk running them without a VPN, I was really amazed with just how many channels, TV shows, and movies you could access. And on top of that, you have the ability to rewind up to a week, which I think is absolutely incredible. And assuming the Blue TV apps run for at least a few more years and you're okay consuming content in this sort of gray area, I think it is absolutely worth the price. This single box will prevent you from having to pay for cable. It'll allow you to watch a bunch of different movies from a bunch of different streaming platforms, and this all without any sort of monthly subscription. That being said, I'm not sure I would fully recommend this box just because it is very expensive and does have quite a bit of risk associated with it. One of the risks is your internet provider having a problem with you owning one of these, and another risk is that Blue TV or similar apps stop receiving support or are shut down, which would just leave you with a basic Android box that costs about 6 times as much as it should. Of course, you'd still be able to use it to run other apps, but again, the main selling point of this is going to be those Blue TV apps. That's the reason you're paying a premium for the SuperBox brand, so you need to keep that risk in mind. On top of the financial risk, I would say a potentially even bigger risk is going to be with security. A lot of these Android boxes are known for doing some pretty shady things, in the sense that they could be monitoring your network traffic, plaguing other devices, and that sort of thing. I think this is actually the biggest risk for this box. So for that reason, if you are going to set it up on your network, I'd probably connect it to its own network, isolate it from communicating with other devices, and use a VPN whenever you're going to be using this. I haven't personally noticed anything suspicious with this specific box, but it is a well-known problem with Android boxes in general, so it's good to have those precautions. So yeah, I would say those are the key takeaways, as is both the DingBox D2 and the SuperBox S7 Pro are extremely capable. They give you access to a ton of different content, all without any sort of monthly subscription. They do come with the risks I described, so it's up to you to decide whether or not they're worth it. That being said, in case you are interested in purchasing one of these boxes, I do have a discount code in the description. I don't mind if you use it or not, but it will save you a bit of money in case you decide to purchase one of these boxes, but definitely factor in the risks before doing so.